If you carry me up the stairs, I'll tell you a secret. The words, whispered and fragile, caught John completely off guard. He was just a mechanic, his hands stained with the day's grease, there to fix a rattling old furnace in the basement of a worn-down apartment building. He looked down at the little girl. She couldn't have been more than 7, with wide, curious eyes that seemed too big for her pale, tiny face. A colorful knitted hat covered her head, and she was wrapped in a thick blanket despite the stuffy indoor air. He'd noticed her watching him from the bottom of the staircase as he worked, a silent little shadow. "What's that, sweetie?" John asked, his voice softer than he intended. "The stairs," she repeated, pointing a small finger towards the steep, winding flight behind him. "My legs are tired today. If you carry me up, I have a secret for you. A really good one." John hesitated. He was on the clock, and this building's super was a notoriously grumpy man. But there was something in her earnest gaze that he couldn't ignore. It reminded him of his own daughter, who was thankfully healthy and probably running around the park at that very moment. He wiped his hands on a rag tucked into his belt. "All right," he smiled. "Deal, but you have to promise it's a top-tier classified secret." Her face lit up. "It is the best, carefully." John knelt down. She was lighter than a feather as he lifted her into his arms, her little body nestled against his sturdy work jacket. She smelled faintly of soap and something medicinal. As he began the slow climb up the creaking wooden steps, he asked, "So, what's your name, secret keeper?" "I'm Lily," she said, her voice muffled against his shoulder. "We live on the 4th floor. It's a long way." "The 4th floor it is," John replied, his breath already starting to shorten. The building had no elevator, and the stairs were relentless. With each step, he could feel the slight weight of her, a precious, fragile burden. He tried to make it a game. "Okay, we are now passing the jungle of the 2nd floor. I hear there are lions. Are you scared?" Lily giggled, a sound like tiny bells. "No lions, just Mr. Henderson. He snores like a lion," though John chuckled, continuing the ascent. By the time they reached the 3rd floor landing, his legs were burning and his back was starting to ache. This was more of a workout than wrestling with a busted boiler. He paused for a moment to catch his breath. "You doing okay up there, Lily?" "I'm great," she said happily. "You're strong. Like a superhero." Her words were a surprising burst of fuel. A superhero. He hadn't felt like one of those in a long time. Most days, he just felt like a guy trying to make ends meet. He took a deep breath and tackled the final flight of stairs. When they finally arrived at the door marked for B, he gently set her down. Lily stood before him, looking proud, as if they'd just conquered a mountain together. "Okay," she said, her expression turning serious. "Are you ready for the secret?" John leaned down, placing his hands on his knees, still breathing a little heavily. "I've been waiting for this the whole journey. I'm ready." She beckoned him closer with her finger, and he lowered his ear to her level. She cupped her hand around his ear and whispered, so quietly he could barely hear, My mum says, she says that angels are people who help you when your own wings are too tired to fly. John froze. He felt a lump form in his throat. He slowly straightened up, looking at this tiny girl with her profound secret. It wasn't about a hidden treasure or some childish gossip. It was something far more valuable. He blinked, trying to compose himself. That's a very good secret, Lily. The best I've ever heard. A woman opened the door to 4B just then, a look of worry on her face that quickly turned to surprise. Lily? There you are. Oh, I'm so sorry, sir. She's not supposed to wander. It's no trouble at all, John said, his voice a bit thick with emotion. We were just exchanging classified information. Lily beamed at her mum. He carried me all the way up. The woman's eyes welled up with gratitude. Thank you, she mouthed to John. Her chemo treatments, they just leave her so weak some days. Suddenly, it all clicked. The pale face, the knitted hat, the tired legs. John's heart ached. He looked from the tired but grateful mother to the little girl who still saw angels in the world. He thought of his own complaints, the long hours, the grumpy supervisor, the aching back. They all seemed so small now. He just nodded to the mother, unable to find the right words. He gave Lily a small final wave. You take care of that secret, okay? Superhero? I will. She called back as she and her mum went inside. Walking back down the 4 flights of stairs, John felt no aches or pains. His steps were light. He didn't feel like a mechanic anymore. He felt like he had wings. That day, a little girl had hired him to fix a furnace. But she ended up fixing something inside him he didn't even know was broken. He had carried her up the stairs, but she had lifted him much higher. And that was a secret he would carry with him forever. Thank you so much for watching. Stories like this remind us of the simple power of kindness and the unexpected angels we meet every day. If this story touched your heart, please give it a like and consider subscribing for more content that warms the soul. See you in the next video.